Okay, so we're gonna go through the learn list for the female reproductive system. So we'll start with the external structures. We have the mons pubis, which is the fat pad where pubic hair grows. On the pregnancy model, it's this area right here is the mons pubis, where you have all this fat right here. And then your vulva. So you have what's called the labia majora, which is going to be the larger fold, number 7. Then you have the labia minora, which is here. On this model, you can see majora would be on the outside, and then these folds on the inside would be the labia minora. And those, we do have pairs of them, so you would have to know left and right. So anything we have 2 of, you need to do left and right.
Okay.
Next is the vestibule. The vestibule is just an area that holds the orifices. So here's the external urethral orifice. Here's the vaginal orifice, and then we do have glands that would be on either side of the vagina to release mucus, but we don't have a model that shows that. But the area where those holes are is the vestibule. So this area here is the vestibule. On this model, here's the urethra, here's the vaginal canal, so this area here would be the vestibule. And then the clitoris is number 8 on here. Here's the glands, and then the body. That's the clitoris. And then on this model, same thing. Glands is the head here, and then the body. This whole thing right here is the clitoris. And then a little bit about the urinary structures. This is the urinary bladder, urethra, and then the external urethral orifice. On the pregnancy model, it looks really flat because the baby, the developing fetus, is applying pressure onto the bladder, which is why pregnant women have to go to the restroom so much, because it's literally pushing down on the bladder. But this is the urinary bladder, urethra, and then the external urethral orifice is where it opens to. And then, let's see. This is the vaginal canal. And then we have what are called the fornix. So the fornix are the little crevices that get created by the cervix, which is this guy here. So fornix, this is the cervix. Same thing over here, these little indentations in here, those are the, each one is a fornix. And then, so the cervix, though, is part of the uterus. So this whole thing is the uterus here. We have the cervix, which is here. This is the body. And then if you look at the uterus from the front, put it together, this is the fundus. So the rounded top part is the fundus. So you can only see it when you're looking at it head on. And then for the cervix, it also lists the cervical canal and external os or os. So this is the cervical canal, and the external os is just the opening. It's just the opening. So cervical canal, and the external os is just the opening. And then the uterus, we went through the major parts, but the lining of the uterus, 226 right there, that's the endometrium. 221 there is the myometrium, and then 227 is the perimetrium.
Okay.
And then on the pregnancy model, this big thing right here, this is the placenta. If you were to take the baby out, you can see it's a sac. So that's the placenta. That's not a layer of the uterus. After that, though, those are the layers of the uterus. We'll put the baby down. The white right there, that's the endometrium. This thick part in the middle, that's the myometrium, and then perimetrium on top. So make sure you know that the very big layer on the bottom, that's actually the placenta. It's not part of the uterus. And know that the placenta, the blood supply comes from your internal iliac artery.
Okay.
And then it also lists your digestive components, so that's pretty easy. You have the rectum and then the anus. Same thing over here, rectum, and then the anus is around where the sphincter muscles are. So that would be the anus.
Does it show the internal iliac artery on this?
No, it doesn't show it on here. The placenta comes from it, but doesn't actually show. Actually no, right here. I'm lying to you. I wouldn't tag it on here, but here's like the abdominal aorta, common iliac, and so internal iliac's in there, but you can't really see it well. That would only be on the board model.
Okay.
A couple of the ligaments, though. This is the ovarian ligament. So this is a uterine tube. I guess I didn't. Was that on this?
Yeah.
Yeah, but was the fimbriae and stuff on here? No, but we talk about it. So here is the uterine tube here. Where it gets larger is the infundibulum, and then these little finger-like projections are the fimbriae. And then this is the ovary. This little yellow structure here, number 230 on the model, that's the ovarian ligament. That attaches the ovary to the uterus. So ovarian ligament here, this is the uterine tube on top. And then, what else is there? The ligaments. So I already said ovarian ligament. This sheet-like stuff here, that's going to be the broad ligament. And then the round ligament attaches the uterus to the abdominal cavity or the pelvic cavity in the front. During lecture, I said that you didn't have to know it, so I probably won't tag it, but it is on your learn list. So just so you know, this is the round ligament here. And then that's it, ovaries. And yeah, that's it. Ready?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So I'm going to just go over the general anatomy of the female reproductive system, and then I'll go over some physiology. So first of all, here we have the vaginal canal. This is the cervix. These indentations here, these little crevices, those are called, each one is called a fornix. And then on your learn list, there's something called the external os, OS. That's just the opening to the cervix here. This whole thing is the cervix. And so this area here is going to be the cervical canal. This is the uterus here. Here's the fundus of the uterus, body, and then like I mentioned, that's the cervix. And then the layers of the uterus include the endometrium here. Myometrium is the thick muscular part, and then the perimetrium is going to be on the outside.
Okay. And the endometrium is the lining
This
that
one,
sheds.
yes, exactly. And then here is the uterine tube, also known as the fallopian tube. You can see the egg being fertilized here at the proximal portion of the uterine tube. These structures here are the fimbriae, and so when this egg ovulated, or this oocyte ovulated from the follicle, these fimbriae would have caught it and then put it into the tube. And so this right here shows you a ruptured follicle, that this egg just ovulated from this follicle here. And then if we look on this side over here, this is what was left over of that follicle, and then it became the corpus luteum. And so this corpus luteum is what promotes pregnancy and prevents another ovulation from happening. So it's going to produce hormones that allow implantation to occur. So this is implantation. So the egg is already fertilized, it has begun developing, and is now implanted in the endometrium. One thing that wasn't mentioned is this here, that's a cervical mucus plug. And that's actually there most of your cycle. It's only not there right before and right after ovulation to allow the sperm to get up. Otherwise, it's there to help protect the uterus from infection.
Okay.
But most of the time you have cervical mucus in there. But then you shed it right before ovulation, and then that allows the sperm to get up and reach the egg. I think I might have mentioned it. I mentioned this is the ovarian ligament that attaches the ovary to the uterus. These are the fimbriae, and the fact that the uterine tube is bigger here than over here, this is called the infundibulum, is the larger end of the uterine tube.
What is a rugae?
Oh yeah, this is the vaginal canal, and those folds are the rugae.
All
I think
right.
that's it.
Thanks, Professor.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, so this is a ovary here. So I'm just going to show you, these are developing follicles. All you have to know is that those are follicles. This is a ruptured follicle, so an egg was ovulated from here. So this is actual ovulation, so this is the egg leaving, and then this is what's left over. The ruptured follicle eventually becomes that corpus luteum that's going to secrete hormones to promote pregnancy and to prevent another ovulation. And that's all you need to know on this follicle.